YoungBoy had 19 people killed. Would you believe me? Right now, nobody has a bigger buzz in the rap game than YoungBoy. His Massa tour reportedly grossed over $70 million and is on track to be one of the top 10 earning rap tours in American history. Only the realist YoungBoy fans would know that YoungBoy hadn't touched a stage since March 2020, right before the lockdowns begun, when his Still Flexin' Still Steppin' tour was cut short after the second stop in Los Angeles. Unfortunately, by the end of 2020, when the rest of the world was being let out, YoungBoy was being put on a different kind of lockdown. He spent the last 5 years in and out of prison and on house arrest, unable to perform, but also making him impossible to kill. But despite all the rumors, he's never actually been charged with murder. He famously caught double attempted murder charges in 2016, attempting to avenge his murdered cousin Boozilla. In his most recent stretch, he spent just under a year behind bars after pleading guilty to numerous charges, including federal gun charges stemming from a heavily armed music video gone wrong, as well as state charges for a devious plot that saw YoungBoy and his friends impersonating doctors in an effort to get their hands on unlimited prescription pills and drank in the state of Utah. These efforts at putting together a drill rapper starter pack robbed YoungBoy of 5 years of his freedom, but between jail stints, he was on house arrest, forced to do nothing but fight his depression, pop pills, and make some of the most groundbreaking gangster rap that had ever been made. YoungBoy was prolific with his releases while on house arrest and in jail, releasing 7 albums and 7 mixtapes. All of this while battling for his freedom, meaning that even behind bars, within just a few years, YoungBoy's work rate had surpassed many of the biggest artists in the world entire careers. But this year, in 2025, he walked free from the federal FCI Talladega prison, getting an early release in March, with one of his conditions being a whopping 60 months of strict probation. And despite his official rap sheet of serious crimes and unofficial title of the Murder Man of Baton Rouge, in May 2025, he inexplicably received a presidential pardon from the slimander-in-chief himself, Donald Trump. Apparently, this was the direct result of lobbying carried out by political heavyweight DJ Academics, who was the one who asked Trump's son to pardon YoungBoy during a campaign stream.
A lot of people are asking, there's a guy who's a beloved, you know, he's just a misunderstood guy actually. His name is NBA YoungBoy. If Trump gets back in office and this guy's locked up, we gotta throw him to the top of the party. Come on.
This presidential pardon cleared the path for YoungBoy to have a fresh start, not just getting back his freedom, but freeing him from any probation or restrictions that would have prevented him from flying around America or the world on tour. And he
Damn, that's what you call luck. When you get that pardon, that's what you call luck.
to return almost 5 years on from his cancelled 2020 tour in 2025, embarking on his Make America Slime Again tour in honor of Donald Trump. His shows would go from theaters that at their largest held a few thousand people to selling out almost 20,000 person venues like the Crypto Arena, and reportedly making anywhere from $800,000 to close to $2 million per show, and releasing 2 more full-length albums before the tour even ended, and cementing his place as perhaps the most successful street rapper of all time, with an estimated 31 million albums sold, over 48 billion streams, and a whopping 41 full-length projects in his catalog at the time of recording. But
ain't nobody bigger and better than YB. Hands the fuck down. Y'all be like, that nigga suck, you dick, bro. You know, nah, bro, that nigga literally the best rapper. That nigga big as Michael Jackson. Bigger than Michael Jackson. YB bigger than fucking Michael Jackson, bro. He getting closer, bro. And he's not even in his 30s.
behind the success, there's a dark secret. YoungBoy was rumored to have been able to make as much as $100 million per year from his insanely successful gangster rap career, numbers that frankly many people would kill for, or perhaps in this case, kill to protect. Like many gangster rappers in this generation, YoungBoy has been accused of having people murdered. In this case, over a dozen people have allegedly been murdered in order to protect his 9-figure gangster rap empire. Actually, it's less that he's been accused of organizing
NBA YoungBoy. That's who you are, NBA YoungBoy.
over a dozen murders, and more like he's actually confessed to organizing over a dozen murders, with numerous lyrics over the years seeing YoungBoy rapping about murder and references to a body count that seemed to grow year by year, from at least one alleged body in the mid-2010s when he first started rapping only age 16, to seemingly confessing to having 3 bodies and subtracting 2 attempts or losses around 2019, to shockingly claiming at least 3 times to have a total of 7 bodies by 2020. His kill count would appear to rise to 12 plus a child by 2022. By March 2024, he was claiming to be responsible for 15 murders, and apparently he would reach a grand total of 19 bodies by June 2024.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is Base 44.
Baton Rouge police are looking into a deadly shooting that claimed the life of a local rapper.
When an unknown suspect in a red Chevy Trailblazer
G wasn't quick enough.
The shooting death of a local rapper.
Baton Rouge police say the local rapper.
Yeah, hey man, they getting busy out there. He said some Africans here. It's fucking crazy.
Rapper was shot and killed at his home at Lakeside Villa Apartments on Wellwood Drive after midnight.
The deadly shooting of a student walking home from school.
New details surrounding a violent crime that happened here around 7:15 Saturday night.
Well, police are trying to get to the bottom of a drive-by shooting in Baton Rouge.
Police say someone shot Jason Nixon several times.
Hey, look, hanging out the one time to flood them on the interstate.
Today, Baton Rouge police named the 2 people killed on River Road last night.
2 people were killed and 2 others were sent to a hospital.
We now know the name of the person killed in a shooting in Baton Rouge.
Police say 24-year-old Deontay Veal was shot and killed.
Investigators say 23-year-old Tremaine Phillips died.
Breaking tonight, 1 person dead after a shooting on Sherwood Common Boulevard.
Person shot and killed along North Acadian. 30-year-old Jawan Alisi was shot to death.
No, that ain't my work, man.
They are looking for information in the shooting death of this man here.
And this isn't some huge secret. In fact, I discussed in my previous video, YoungBoy, Real Killer or Fake Gangster, which I made a couple years ago when his body count was still at 12. But the truth is, YoungBoy isn't the person pulling the triggers and committing these murders personally. He openly raps about contracting killers over 7 times, never even seeing the face of the people doing the hits. Although his 2016 double attempted murder charges would prove that he's clearly capable of pulling the trigger if it came to it. In efforts to prevent him bailing out on his prior charges, the FBI have openly labeled YoungBoy as the known leader of a violent Louisiana gang. And the truth is, he is literally surrounded by shooters at all times, with a number of the most notorious shooters in the South being affiliated with his NBA or Never Broke Again record label and his alleged 4K Trey Street gang and their allies state to state, meaning that wherever YoungBoy goes, he's accompanied by
gun violence?
countless crash outs who are ready and willing to shoot and catch bodies to protect YoungBoy and his multi-million-dollar interests. So in this video, I'll answer once and for all, are all of these murders and murderers the secret ingredient to YoungBoy's gangster rap empire? Does YoungBoy really need shooters around him at all times to make sure he stays alive and that his rivals die early? Or is he destined to meet the same fate as his biggest rival, Lil Durk, and eventually going to get taken down by the feds, who might well still be at this very second working tirelessly to
This nigga, I'm police. What's up, dude? They said I'm police. I ain't police. I am not police. This nigga the police.
solve these murders while he's reaching the peak of his career? Well, in this video, I have all of the answers, as I'll reveal one by one the gruesome truth behind each and every one of YoungBoy's alleged 19 murder victims, which have never before been identified publicly until now.
What? I bet.
But before we go any further, I just want to warn you, this video contains themes of death, murder, and violence. If you're uncomfortable with any of these tragic themes, you might want to choose another video. I'm going to break down each one of the suspected 19 murders that YoungBoy claims that he organized, the tragic story behind it, and also the social media rumors regarding exactly which NBA members people think pulled the trigger. Much of the information in this video is based on public rumors, and I can't 100% vouch for the authenticity of the theories that have been circulated online by third parties. This video has been created for documentary and journalistic purposes to raise awareness about a story in the public interest regarding a well-known public figure. All clips included in this video are included under the doctrine of fair use for analysis, critique, and news reporting, and I've ensured that this video has been heavily censored in order to comply with YouTube's community and advertiser guidelines. But if you want an uncut and extended version of this video, you can go to patreon.com/traploreross, where I upload all of my full-length documentaries completely uncut. But if you're okay with all of that, then just keep watching and get ready to hear the single most insane story in gangster rap that you will ever hear. Years before the sold-out stadiums, the 40 billion streams, and the countless Reddit posts speculating on how many murders YoungBoy was responsible for, he was just a troubled southern kid from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. His real name is Kentrell Deshaun Goulden, and he was born in 1999 in Baton Rouge, where he grew up in the city's north side around 38th Street and Chippewa. Suffering a turbulent childhood, overshadowed by violence and tragedy, in part due to his father getting a 55-year sentence for armed robbery and attempted murder, and the death of his beloved grandmother who raised him, this all led to YoungBoy being sent to a group home where he would suffer severe abuse and bullying, before he would eventually start a life of crime of his own during his teenage years, doing home invasions and robberies that would eventually land him in juvenile detention. It was during this time that YoungBoy finally found his purpose through writing rhymes, and upon his release, he began recording low-quality songs at home with his friend and roommate OG33 using a cheap microphone from Walmart. It didn't take him long to pick up a buzz in the Baton Rouge street rap scene, and he soon aligned himself with a local rap label and borderline gang known as Top Boy Gorilla, or TBG, led by rappers G Money and Fredo Bang. Unfortunately, one of the first people to give YoungBoy a leg up in his career would wind up being the first of many people that would be murdered to protect that career. YoungBoy would eventually release his first mixtape, Life Before Fame, under the TBG label in 2015, but soon, issues like jealousy, disputes over money, and street beefs seemed to cause a falling out between YoungBoy and TBG, and in the aftermath, he and his close friend OG33 branched off and started their own movement that would eventually be worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm of course talking about NBA, aka Never Broke Again, which became both a rap label and a tight-knit crew of YoungBoy's closest friends, as well as his most prolific shooters and killers. This included infamous figures like Ben 10, Big B, Herm, Montana, Michi Baby, KD, Lil Pap, and Baba, just to mention a few. Moreover, in countless lyrics, YoungBoy and other NBA members would claim allegiance to a gang known as 4KT or 4K Trey, which appears to be a larger street alliance in Baton Rouge, and possibly also in other cities that YoungBoy and his friends would represent. There's been endless debate about the true underlying meaning of 4K Trey. Some have suggested it refers to those who kill for YoungBoy, or killing for Kentrell. Others have suggested that it actually referred to the beef with TBG from the south side of Baton Rouge who rep the 4, saying that they're 4K or 4 killers, and that they banged the 3 or the Trey, while others have suggested that it refers to 4 ever killing the Ops. But whatever the true meaning, the broader national alliance of this gang appears to be within the Bloods, more specifically the notorious East Coast originated Blood faction known as Money Murder or SMM, who are known for sometimes representing themselves with the bright green color instead of the traditional red, while also making use of other symbolism based on this color theme, like calling each other slime. But before NBA or 4K Trey would allegedly commit their first murder, they would suffer a tragic loss of their own, which led to one of the only incidents where YoungBoy himself had been confirmed to have personally been involved in a shooting. These events began unfolding when YoungBoy's cousin Boozilla, affiliated with a crew known as BBG or Bottom Boy Gorillas, was gunned down in November 2016. BBG was a direct rival to TBG, the label and gang that YoungBoy declined to sign to, who had since turned from YoungBoy's acquaintances to his main rivals. In the aftermath of Boozilla's murder, YoungBoy would wind up catching a double attempted murder charge for a shooting incident where he and other known NBA members tried to avenge Boozilla's death. The following year, in 2017, YoungBoy would plead guilty to aggravated assault and ended up getting a suspended sentence in this case. Effectively, the judge had been very merciful and granted him a second chance at life in his career with strict conditions. Soon after his release, he would hit the big leagues with his music, dropping the coveted AI YoungBoy mixtape, charting on Billboard, and signing a $2 million deal with Atlantic Records. But while YoungBoy's career was reaching new heights, his feud with TBG would intensify, and his former friend G Money would soon become his biggest rival. G Money would begin dissing YoungBoy with dedicated tracks like WNBA Smoke, where he appears to threaten to send his shooters at YoungBoy and the NBA crew, rapping that if you take it there with him, you're not going to make it back. YoungBoy would fire back in songs such as Ride On 'Em, with chilling lyrics claiming that the only way the beef would end was with G Money getting shot, and even hinting that he'd put a bag on his head. Now before we go any further, I just want to make one thing clear. You can hate on YoungBoy all you want, and you can call me the feds, but this is a dangerous man who warns his enemies and tells them exactly what's going to happen to them. G Money was warned what would happen in 2017 if he kept playing with YoungBoy, but he didn't take these warnings seriously, and he wound up being the first of many who unfortunately found out the hard way that nothing can get in the way of the NBA empire. The conflict kept escalating throughout 2017 as both sides would go back and forth on social media.
Yeah, that little like my little partner, he used to be like my little brother. He stayed with me and everything. Everything was still all good until he started, you know what I'm saying, like doing his own thing, getting him a little buzz, getting a little money. He just got the big, he mad about his sister too though. About his sister? Yeah, I had her a long time ago.
She don't like me or something. I'm about beefing, what it is? I don't like you, I'm gonna keep on it, I don't like you.
talk to him. Like this, man. You ain't no for you to like, you hear me?
G-Money wanted all the smoke, and his next move would be a fatal escalation. On August the 27th, 2017, G-Money dropped his notorious song Industry, another dedicated diss track aimed at YoungBoy and NBA. But this time, G-Money would get way more personal, mentioning people close to YoungBoy like his late cousin Boozilla and his mother Sharonda, as well as his sister, this time in a way that made sure that the relationship between these two former friends would never be repaired. But perhaps most interestingly, G-Money also revealed that someone had allegedly put $100,000 on his head, with Redditors later spreading rumors that YoungBoy's notorious manager Big Dump was actually the very person behind this $100,000 bounty. Famously, the video also prominently featured a Chucky doll, which was apparently a reference to an earlier YoungBoy video called What I Was Taught from September 2016, where the same doll could be seen, and this cursed doll would continue to pop up in spooky ways on both sides of this beef for years to come. From here, G-Money kept taking shots at YoungBoy and the NBA crew whenever he could.
When you do this and do that and do that, you ain't sticking with a so you. I ain't tripping on no this and no none of that, you heard me? You, your mama, your brother, your cousin, your auntie, your uncle, whoever. Way throwback, you heard me? Made you script and you ain't do nothing about it. So how you think you could tell me something?
And unfortunately, in some of these videos, G-Money was also revealing his location, as he can be seen standing outside a building while claiming that YoungBoy suddenly turned into a supposed killer after getting his record deal.
Say, Lil, you know you ain't living like that, man. You get a deal and you done turn to a killer. When you start doing all that, man, you know you ain't cut like that, man. You know TBG been your muscle, boy. And the same you talking about usually don't live in jail, wherever they at, man. That's the same ran you out of Nouveau in the city, man. Yeah, you remember Will? Yeah, Will's out there. Hey, you remember you ran out that store, man? You know what's happening with us, man. You hear me? Real. And I'm living out shit, you hear me? Everything you got with a deal, I got that without a deal, man. You hear me? You know, 30 plus on my neck with no deal. Yeah, for real. Driving in $100,000 coupes and man. Yeah, with no deal, boy. You better stop playing and stay in your place, son.
People familiar with the city of Baton Rouge could likely recognize easily that he was standing in front of a local recording studio on the 1900 block of Dallas Drive, where TBG were known to record at. The very same studio was also featured prominently in the music video for G-Money and Boulevard Quick's track, Set Trippin'. Unfortunately for G-Money, he massively underestimated two things. He underestimated how easy he was to find in the city, and he hugely underestimated YoungBoy and the NBA crew's willingness to kill to protect their budding empire. In the early morning hours of September the 10th, 2017, G-Money was at that very same studio, seemingly recording another diss track aimed at YoungBoy, where he called the people's favorite rapper a liar. This would unfortunately end up being his last recording, as around 1:30 AM, G-Money would step outside the studio building and take his last breath before he was ambushed and shot dead.
Baton Rouge police are looking into a deadly shooting that claimed the life of a local rapper. Police say someone shot and killed 22-year-old Garrett Burton on Dallas Street around 1:20 last night. Burton performed under the name G-Money.
An alleged picture of the shooter at the scene would later circulate on Reddit. G-Money's good friend Fat Chapo, who was with him at the studio the night of the murder, would later describe the evening's dark events in a later interview.
I was the first out the door. G walked out that door by himself. I told him before he walked out the door, like, and when I went to go get the slippers, he walked out the door on his own. And they start shooting. When they start shooting, I really didn't know what was going on because I heard a boom, but when as soon as the shooting stopped, I ran out the door. Nobody was still, I still never saw nobody. It was more like, you know what I'm saying, it f***ed me up instantly.
But just as chilling as the murder itself were the haunting details that came out afterwards. The day after G-Money was killed, someone would go to the studio to document the murder scene, where they ended up capturing footage where bloody pillows could be seen laying on the ground. A picture of this pillow would also be posted on social media, where it would eventually go down in infamy as one of the most terrifying pieces of folklore about the Baton Rouge streets. This haunting image would start a wild rumor that G-Money's killers had actually thrown a pillow and told him to go to sleep after shooting him dead. It's unclear exactly who started this dark rumor, but it had a powerful effect on the Baton Rouge streets. The word of the bloody pillow would spread all around Louisiana, and YoungBoy and the NBA crew would become notorious not just as shooters, but like action movie mobsters who left props at the scene of murder.
They put a pillow under that dude's head. Told him go to sleep, man.
To send others a message. While the truth behind these pillows turned out to be nothing as cold and calculated as people on Reddit might have you believe, even this make-believe story would survive in infamy for years, and it made the NBA gang out to be like...
Your mom just wanted to... You're not drinking that water either. No, I'm drinking. Freaking. Oh my God.
boogeymen in Baton Rouge, but the truth is, the pillows had most likely been used by medics who came to the scene to help G Money after the shooting. But it seems that YoungBoy and his team would take full advantage of this online folklore, and YoungBoy would later rap several lyrics where he referenced pillows in relation to murders, like in the 2020 song Step On, where he rapped that he would lay his ops' beds and throw them a pillow, and in the 2023 song Let's Do It, where he described his gang creeping up and laying their ops' head on a pillow when they kill them. In the music video for this song, YoungBoy even gets down and lays his head onto an actual pillow. The bloody pillow was a terrifying symbol of how far NBA members would take it if you got in their way, and as time went on, from this first murder, YoungBoy would continue to reference G Money, leaving cryptic warnings for anyone else who might gamble with their lives playing with the NBA. A new song titled Poor One would release about a month after G Money's murder and appeared to be explicitly dedicated to him, with YoungBoy starting his first verse, recalling a time when their bond felt more like a brotherhood before G Money shattered YoungBoy's trust by sleeping with his sister and bragging about it online. This was the first time one of NBA's rivals suffered deadly consequences in the streets after playing with YoungBoy, and he was not shy about reminiscing and talking openly about the person who had lost their life. Yet despite this being an open secret in the Baton Rouge streets, the authorities to this very day have struggled to truly get to the bottom of this case. It would take close to 2 years before they finally named any suspects in G Money's murder, but finally in June 2019, DeAndre Fields, better known on the streets as Lil Pap, or NBA Pap, will be charged with second-degree murder in connection to G Money's death.
DeAndre Fields, Baton Rouge police say they arrested him years after the shooting death of a local rapper, Garrett Burton. Back in 2017, Burton went by the name of G Money.
In his early music, YoungBoy had painted a picture of Pap as being one of his main shooters, and now here he was, accused of shooting YoungBoy's biggest rival dead. Lil Pap initially pled not guilty, and years later he would accept a plea deal on greatly reduced charges of accessory after the fact to murder, receiving a mere 5-year sentence. But interestingly, Pap would still swear to the judge and people close to him that he was innocent, and this sentiment was shared amongst G Money's close friends like TBG rapper Fredo Bang, who would also later claim several times publicly that Pap indeed wasn't G Money's killer.
Your connections to the past are waiting. Get Ancestry DNA for only $29.
Reba here, back to tell you about Realtor.com. With over 500,000 new listings monthly, you can find your...
Instead of sending it to her, I was like, you seen it? You seen it? Yeah, I seen it. Oh, you make arrests, might be wrong. The man ain't do that.
Do you know the guy that's being charged? Okay. You said that you didn't think the guy that they're charging with the murder actually did it.
No. YoungBoy's lyrics on the leaked song, Keeping It True, seem to echo this same sentiment, with him rapping how after an op died in the night, his brother kept it solid and didn't tell, even though he wasn't the shooter. Even G Money's own mother would post on social media after Pap's guilty plea that she also believed that he wasn't the actual killer of her son, leaving this first murder connected to YoungBoy and his squad of killers still shrouded in mystery, not only robbing G Money's family of justice, but also meaning that whichever NBA soldier who did kill G Money might still be walking the streets and stages behind YoungBoy to this day, being ready to kill again. There's of course been various rumors as to exactly what went down that night and who was responsible. G Money's mother would make a post on Instagram showing a picture of 3 prominent NBA members, BBG Fredo, Ben 10, and Baby Joe, saying these were the 3 people that the police said killed her son. Other rumors would circulate, particularly on Reddit, where many have claimed that Pap indeed was not responsible, but was only connected to the case due to being caught with the gun that was used in the hit, while some have denied this. Some spread false rumors that YoungBoy might have killed G-Money personally, but he apparently had the perfect alibi, playing a show in New York City at the Gramercy Theatre that very night. Other NBA members would be caught on live with Quando Rondo in 2018, including OG3, Ben 10, and off-screen, Baba Osama, who is heard saying that they're smoking on G-Money before a frustrated OG3 ends the live abruptly.
And we smoking on G-Money right now.
One far-fetched rumor circulating on Reddit suggested that NBA Herm and Baby Joe were actually the shooters, and that it was Ben 10 who threw the pillow and told him to go to sleep. Herm's name has been put forward by some on social media due to very suspect posts made by YoungBoy over the years, as well as the fact that he appeared right next to YoungBoy when he laid his head on the pillow in the music video for Let's Do It, as well as being on the original live that teased the song, with people commenting how crazy it was to rap these lyrics stood right next to the killer. Some believe that YoungBoy actually confirmed that Herm was responsible on social media during a feud with the rapper No Cap, where No Cap had apparently claimed that everyone in Baton Rouge was trying to claim the G-Money murder, with YoungBoy responding that you must not know about the Black Sheep, referring to Herm's nickname, while others adamantly believe that actually it was Ben 10 who was truly responsible for the hit, which makes the fact that he was caught liking the IG posts of the mother of G-Money's child all the more chilling. But even as the mystery continues, so does the disrespect, as G-Money's grave has been vandalized numerous times, and G-Money's mother still has no justice, as she heartbreakingly has posted him on her Instagram page every day for years. But sadly, she would only be the first of over a dozen mothers who would mourn the loss of their children. And the sad truth is that while G-Money had been a direct threat to the budding Never Broke Again empire, some of those who lost their lives appear to have simply been in the wrong place at the wrong time. The next body is one of the most debated when it comes to the alleged murders that YoungBoy has been connected to. On October the 26th, 2017, 19-year-old Ernisha Barnes was sitting in a parked car outside of a deli when she became caught in an altercation that would escalate into gunfire. Shots were fired from another vehicle, striking her multiple times, and she would later die from her injuries at the hospital.
We also have now learned the identity and the name of that 19-year-old woman. Police tell us that it was about 10:15 last night when an unknown suspect in a red Chevy Trailblazer fired several shots into a car with 19-year-old Ernisha Barnes sitting in the passenger seat. It happened near Gus Young and 48th Street. We're told that Barnes was actually taken to a local hospital where she later died.
YoungBoy's fans would later draw connections between several of his lyrics and Ernisha Barnes' death, most notably a leaked track titled Money Man, which featured YoungBoy describing a shooting where someone targeted a man named Hammer, but instead ended up striking his girlfriend. Allegedly, this was in retaliation for someone called Monkey shooting up YoungBoy's grandmother's home. According to Reddit rumors, these lyrics reference YoungBoy's beef with a gang known as TMH, or Too Many Hitters, and particularly two of their main members, named Hammer and Monkey, the latter being better known as the rapper TMH 32 Shots, who's also been affiliated with YoungBoy's main rivals, the TBG crew. Ernisha, or simply Nisha as she was known, was allegedly Hammer's girlfriend, who had then supposedly gotten shot by YoungBoy or someone close to him as a revenge for Monkey first shooting up YoungBoy's grandmother's house, with Ernisha actually getting the nickname Hammer Girl on Reddit, where many posts have been made demanding justice for her. However, Monkey would deny having ever shot YoungBoy's grandmother's house years later in his song FAN. In another leaked song, YoungBoy would even seemingly mention Ernisha by name, using her nickname Nisha, while rapping how she had a baby but got killed in front of a corner store. While in yet another leaked song, he seemingly implied trying to kill his enemy but ending up killing his girlfriend before calling himself the Murder Man. YoungBoy continued to reference that same theme of accidentally shooting someone's girl for years to come. He would rap chilling lyrics on the 2023 song I Heard that someone got swerved on with their girl, she got hit, and he heard her take her last breaths. But despite fan theories that YoungBoy, or at least someone close to him, was responsible for this tragic murder, in actuality, already in October 2017, two people had been arrested in relation to the incident. 27-year-old Donnie Spencer, who was charged with first-degree murder for allegedly killing Ernisha in a drive-by shooting, and 30-year-old Ashley Taylor, who was charged with attempted second-degree murder and illegal use of a weapon for apparently shooting at another woman in the same spot just minutes before the fatal shooting that killed Ernisha.
Scotty Hunter tonight with the key thing that helped police make a very quick arrest.
The man accused of carrying out this year's record-breaking murder in Baton Rouge, 27-year-old Donnie Spencer, is behind bars tonight. As he was loaded off to prison, he had nothing to say except one thing.
Innocent.
Spencer's charged with first-degree murder and attempted first-degree murder after allegedly gunning down 19-year-old mother Ernisha Barnes last Thursday in a drive-by shooting on Gus Young at 48. His information put out on Friday. Roughly 72 hours later, he was picked up today by the U.S. Marshals Task Force.
Although Spencer had first claimed to be innocent, he would eventually plead guilty to manslaughter in 2019, and he was sentenced to 22 years in prison. But even this wouldn't convince some fans, who would still keep claiming that Spencer had simply taken the charge for YoungBoy, and believing his earlier claims of innocence as validating this theory. While this more far-fetched and far-removed murder seems highly unlikely to be truly connected to YoungBoy directly, the next murder would echo the hit on G Money, as another prominent TBG member with rumored bodies of his own against NBA would unfortunately go out the very same way.
Living Spaces Cyber Week deals start now, where you can shop online at livingspaces.com or in store, with stylish sofas starting at $295, elevated dining sets starting at $295, and cozy queen.
One person that played an instrumental role in NBA YoungBoy's early career was Big Dump, aka Desmond Hardnett. Big Dump had reportedly worked for YoungBoy as an agent or manager, and simply working for YoungBoy had undoubtedly made Big Dump a target in Baton Rouge, but later lyrics from YoungBoy himself would reveal that there might have also been other reasons. For example, on the 2022 track Doctor, YoungBoy threatens to shoot up a car, just like Dump would do, something that he reiterates on the 2025 track 86 Prayers. These lyrics seem to imply that Dump wasn't just a businessman, but also somebody that had a reputation in the streets and had personally participated in shootings, making him a target on multiple fronts. Combine that with the rumors that he was the one who had put the bounty on G Money's head, and it's clear that TBG members would have wanted to take his life too. On May the 4th, 2018, at around 6 p.m, Baton Rouge police would respond to a drive-by style shooting on the 2200 block of Nairn Drive. According to news reports, Big Dump had been chatting with family and friends in his old neighborhood when someone pulled up in a vehicle and fired several shots, killing Dump and injuring the woman standing near him, while 5 or 6 witnesses watched on in shock.
Baton Rouge police say 29-year-old Desmond Hardnett died last night from his injuries. Police say Hardnett and a 32-year-old woman were both shot during a drive-by shooting yesterday afternoon. That happened near the corner of Nairn and Baywell. We're told the woman's injuries are not expected to be life-threatening.
Unfortunately, like many of the murders in Louisiana, Dump's murder was never officially solved, although YoungBoy's main rivals TBG would heavily imply being behind the hit. Just 2 months after Big Dump's murder, 2 of TBG's biggest remaining rap stars, Fredo Bang and Boulevard Quick, would release a song called Body Bag, where Fredo opens up by rapping how they pull up on an op and dump the whole clip, before interestingly mentioning putting someone's friend in a grave because they had dropped some knots, which could indeed refer to the rumor that G Money had a $100,000 bounty on his head put up by Big Dump before the murder went down. And they would go on to brag how they had caught someone right outside the house, the exact circumstances of Dump's murder. Boulevard Quick would again go after YoungBoy in his camp a month later on his song called And One, opening up the track by telling his ops to keep his friend's name out their mouth, likely meaning G Money, and telling them to go and dig their partner up, likely referring to Dump, while later rapping that he heard people are looking for him because someone lost his soul, before throwing a Dump ad-lib there for good measure, just to make it extra clear exactly who he was talking about. But Quick would also hilariously give himself an alibi, rapping how he went to the movies and then went to see a girl while Dump's murder was taking place. And in both music videos, once again, a Chucky doll could also be seen, which at this point had become a way for TBG rappers to cryptically troll YoungBoy ever since that G Money industry music video. And just like G Money, Boulevard Quick would also boast in several songs how he had heard around town that killers were looking for him, but he wasn't scared and still sliding, even ending his August 2018 music video for the song Never Lackin' by seemingly daring YoungBoy and his crew to try and catch him.
That shot that nut in your mama. Pull up. Come out here. You know, TBG Gorilla Gang, long live G Money. I'ma talk my shit. I don't hide behind money, cause I ain't got that much. So I'm in the field. You can't be, money must be counterfeit. You drop the bag while I'm still breathing. I got breath in my body. Fake it, boy. Pull up.
But the last straw was when YoungBoy's mother, Sharonda, would participate in this beef personally, causing Boulevard Quick to respond with a vulgar and unfiltered rant.
Fredo Bang and Quick wants to get YoungBoy. Fredo Bang and Boulevard Slow.
You look like a man, though. You look like a punk. Talking about me, I ain't Fredo. I speaks on everything. Boy, f that mama. Play with me first. That
This would cause YoungBoy himself to respond too. YB would warn Quick that this internet beef would end with him having the last laugh, saying that his ops are going to either die, go broke, or go to jail.
This internet ain't for long. I hope y'all stupid mother know that. It's either you gonna die, you either gonna be a bum, or you gonna be successful, or you gonna go to jail.
When you shop in the Safeway app, you can count on us to choose fresh produce, guaranteed.
Then, on November the 26th, 2018, about 6 months after the murder of Big Dump, the Baton Rouge police would respond to Lakeside Villa Apartments just after 12:30 a.m. There, they would find 25-year-old Ashton Wells, aka Boulevard Quick, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds, and he would be pronounced dead at the scene soon after. Although the news reports would acknowledge that Boulevard Quick was already the second TBG rapper killed in recent years, the authorities had no suspect or motive. Interestingly, some people who followed a subreddit about Baton Rouge culture, not necessarily its gang culture, but the city at large, would even be aware of Boulevard Quick's disrespectful attitude and murderous tendencies, showing even that everyday people living in the city would too be celebrating his death. But Boulevard Quick's death was followed by numerous occasions of YoungBoy and his NBA 4K Trey affiliates dissing him and seemingly implying that they had been directly responsible for the murder. The day after Quick died, YoungBoy would appear on an IG Live while being in noticeably good spirits. He would rap lyrics from his upcoming track, My Mama Say, an interesting name for a song given that his mother had just been exchanging words with Quick, rapping that people keep talking about touching him, but they're the ones who keep ending up dead. The full song would drop the following month on YoungBoy's new project titled Realer, which included numerous lyrics that seem to imply that YoungBoy has people killed and is planning to use his newfound rap game riches to pay his shooters to keep killing people for him. He would rap specifically how he smokes up with his hitmen while plotting the next murder, and that they tell him that all behind YoungBoy they will kill people and that he will guarantee their check if they wet their targets. He would rap about the killers around him looking up to him and saying that he has bodies and that he hopes they don't catch up with him. In later songs, there would also be much more obvious references towards Boulevard Quick specifically, like the song Impact, where YoungBoy rapped how someone dissed his mother, so he ended up killing them, and famously on the song 1.5, where he raps that his mother had told him to leave Quick dead for speaking on her. Also, other NBA members would participate in the dissing, like NBA Big B, who in several songs dissed someone fat, who died, clearly referencing Quick, even including a cover art of himself literally smoking on Quick, while also rapping in the song that if there's money on someone's head, he promises to get the job done, strongly implying that he had something to do with Quick's death. Interestingly, this murder being November the 26th, 2018, about a week after fellow blood rapper 6ix9ine from New York would end up getting indicted by federal prosecutors for his role as a shot caller in the 9 Trey Bloods. Funnily enough, many people on Reddit at the time would speculate that the feds would likely soon be looking into NBA YoungBoy too, and speculating that there were 2 known murders and perhaps more unknown ones at this point in time. But despite the rumors and lyrics that seemed to tie the hit to infamous NBA member Big B, rumors would circulate on Reddit that the real killer was a lesser known affiliate of NBA known as Duty Black, a friend of YoungBoy's who was also a rapper himself. Some have suggested that the two might have actually carried out the hit together. YouTuber 3J Knows the Truth would claim to have been told by those in the know that these were the hitters and that Big B was the one who took the shot.
It was allegedly 2 people on the Boulevard Quick hit. Allegedly or whatever, it was Big B and Duty Black. Big B shot or whatever. Boulevard Quick was walking outside, and when he made it to the parking lot, that's when he seen Big B. Quick tried to run. Boulevard Quick tried to run back in the house, and they hit him or whatever. They hit him 2 times in the head. Big B and Duty Black killed Boulevard Quick. That's what somebody close to the situation DM'd me and told me. When Duty Black died, everybody started posting Boulevard Quick. When NBA Big B got shot, everybody started posting Boulevard Quick.
YoungBoy would post a picture on FaceTime with Duty Black, and it's rumored that this was only a short time before the murder of Quick. Unfortunately, Duty Black, real name Darian Carter, was gunned down in his car in North Foster Drive in Baton Rouge on June the 11th, 2021, and the police were unable to identify any suspects, with many believing that TBG member Fredo Bang posting a picture with Boulevard Quick right after the murder of Duty Black was confirmation that he was the one responsible. Rumors have since spread that this was a paid hit as retaliation for Boulevard Quick's murder. YoungBoy would pay tribute on the leaked 2021 song Northside Legend, calling Duty that very thing and saying RIP, and he even seemed to express remorse over the retaliation that took Duty's life on the song Letter to the North, where he raps about telling his mother to send $10,000 to Duty's mother. Some on Reddit have suggested that there was never retaliation for Duty Black's murder because he wasn't a true member of the NBA crew, but while YoungBoy later would use his music to express his pain and regret over the lives lost in the name of protecting the NBA empire, after these 3 murders, YoungBoy would begin rapping more and more with pride about his triple body count. At this point point in time, YoungBoy had already become a well-established and prolific artist in the rap game, who was known for his unmatched work ethic, devoted fan base, and his unique and versatile style, which ranged from emotional auto-tune ballads, which his fans described as pain songs, as well as incredibly aggressive anthems designed for sliding on your ops, which his fans would describe as murder songs. And it would be this latter subgenre of murder music where YoungBoy would begin to talk more about his infamous body counts. Some of the first songs that mention specific numbers were seemingly made around 2019, not long after YoungBoy's killers had allegedly caught their third victim, Boulevard Quick. One of these being a song known as All in My Way, which was supposedly recorded sometime in 2019, although it would only be leaked in November 2021. In this song, YoungBoy would rap that he has 5 bodies under him, but you have to subtract 2, possibly referring to the 2 attempted murders that he got after his cousin Boozilla's death, or the 2 losses that his own side had suffered, Big Dump and Boozilla. In another song called Murder Man, which was reportedly first played by YoungBoy's ex-girlfriend during an IG Live on November the 18th, 2019, YoungBoy seems to imply that he has 3 bodies, and that someone who talks shit about him on Instagram is going to be the 4th, with this likely referring to King Von, who had just recently dissed YoungBoy in March of that same year, suggesting that he'd been lying in his music.
YoungBoy talking about on this song, bro.
What?
You talking crazy on this man.
Oh, yeah?
He ain't even like that.
Oh!
On this man. On this cap. You got cap in your raps.
But more about what happened to Von later. But this was only the beginning, and only 2 years after this number had more than doubled, as he would claim on his King Von diss song Dead Trolls. By 2020, YoungBoy was claiming to have racked up 7 bodies. Ironically, the exact same number of bodies that King Von was rumoured to have, indicating that in 2020 there was actually a direct rivalry between the two on who had the most murders, with them actually seeming to be neck and neck in murder counts during this period. But who were these 4 people who YoungBoy had allegedly killed in less than a year in order to go from 3 to 7 bodies and catch up with King Von? Well, YoungBoy and his 4K Trey's growing affiliations with other gangs in Baton Rouge also brought them several new enemies that would end up supercharging the ongoing war in the city and rise the body count significantly. By the end of 2019, YoungBoy had a rumoured 3 bodies under his belt, but he was also killing it in the rap game. October 2019 would see him hitting 2 career milestones that he's still not surpassed. His highest charting hit single, Bandit, with Juice WRLD, and the release of, in my opinion, the greatest album in his catalogue and the best album in modern gangster rap, AI YoungBoy 2. If you want to know more about the industry success that YoungBoy was having around this time, go and check out the 6-hour video that I previously did on YoungBoy a couple of years ago. But behind the music industry success, things were getting very complicated in the streets for YoungBoy and his NBA label / gang. At this point, YoungBoy's street rivalries in his hometown had revolved almost completely around his years-long beef with his former friends in the crew TBG. However, coming into the 2020s, another deadly beef would emerge, which I've covered in depth on my second channel, Trap Loreross, this being the beef between 2 gangs known as the Vultures and the Bleeders. The Vultures come out of the so-called Bankstown hood on the north side, which is known as the Third World, while the Bleeders hail from the Glen Oaks neighborhood, also known as Oaktown, which is located to the east from Bankstown. YoungBoy's deadly street alliance 4K Trey would eventually become entangled in the beef between the Vultures and the Bleeders due to shared alliances and rivalries, as Bleeders became allied with TBG, while Vultures became very close with 4K Trey, with the most popular Vultures rapper, YKWHIFV, even receiving an NBA chain from YoungBoy personally. According to online rumors, the chain of events that sparked these new alliances allegedly begun with a murder that hit YoungBoy on a deeply personal level. The connection in this case leads back to yet another gang based in the Sherwood Forest neighborhood on the east side of Baton Rouge, which is most famously represented by B-Way Youngie, a popular rapper who is YoungBoy's actual little brother, with the 2 of them sharing the same father, while there's also a third brother known as D Gobbler. B-Way and D's gangs rep several different names, such as Goblin Gang or DHG, aka Dark Hearted Goblins, and they also rep the number 6 and are sometimes called simply the 6 or 600 or 6 to Crew. B-Way's gang had a long-time rivalry with a gang alliance known as 300, which was founded by youths from 2 different hoods, Mall City on the east side and Gardier aka G Lane on the far south side. On the afternoon of December the 2nd, 2019, 17-year-old Javon Brown aka Jay, an alleged member of the 300 Alliance, had just got out of the school bus on Ottawa Drive when 3 teenagers begun harassing him. What begun as a fistfight quickly escalated into gunfire, and within moments Brown was struck by a bullet and collapsed on the sidewalk.
Approached him, they started a fight with him, and during that fight one of them pulled out a gun and shot him.
Brown was rushed to the hospital where he died early Tuesday morning.
Almost immediately, detectives begun rounding up suspects connected to the attack, and within 48 hours, 3 teens were in custody, including a 16-year-old Kevin Anderson, who had himself gotten shot by accident during the incident, as well as YoungBoy's brothers B-Way Youngie, real name Jeffrey Tate, and D. Gobbler, real name Devon Tate. B-Way faced charges of being a participant in the incident, while his brother was booked for allegedly being the triggerman.
The East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office saying that it was 18-year-old Devon Tate who pulled the trigger. His brother Jeffrey charged as a principal, both avoiding capture until Wednesday.
As Redditors later pointed out, the feud between B-Way's DHG crew and the 300 Alliance played a key role in drawing YoungBoy's 4K Trey gang into the war, once the 300 eventually aligned themselves with the Bleeders. And while YoungBoy himself had personally no part to play in this murder, people online consider this murder to have been the very first catalyst that started the war between these two alliances, that at this point included 4K Trey and DHG on one side and the Bleeders and 300 on the other. Meanwhile, according to more online rumors, B-Way's charges were eventually dropped, but his brother D remains in jail on charges stemming from Jay's murder and other incidents that took place while he was out on bond. 300's revenge for this murder would come already a few weeks later, when 17-year-old Gervonta Taplin, also known as Tay6, an alleged member of the DHG gang, was killed in a Christmas Eve home invasion.
New at 5, this is our first look at the teenager killed early this morning in a shooting. His family tells us someone came inside Gervonta Taplin's home and shot him.
Tay6's alleged killer was arrested a few months later in February, and he would turn out to be 17-year-old Covarius Garner, aka Cutter, or Juice, according to the newspapers, who had confessed the murder to the police while also admitting that he was a member of 300. But while the law had so far been quick to catch both sides of this rivalry, 300 was already about to lose another member, as yet another gang would get involved in the war.
Gifts for the outdoors and the outdoorsy. Eddie Bauer.
Don't stay too late.
I'll try.
Friday night, closing the books. Just a few more hours.
The next victim would be 17-year-old Gyron LaBouffe, a promising young athlete and a rapper who was known by the stage name Gyron Bang. He was apparently active in the streets too, with pictures of him toting firearms and fist-fighting circulating on Reddit. On the evening of Saturday, February the 8th, 2020, Gyron had left his home to go and buy a birthday gift for his mother at the Mall of Louisiana, the largest mall in the state and a popular hangout spot for the local youths. According to comments on Reddit, he bumped into 3 of his ops in the mall, leading to a fistfight, Gyron getting the better of one of them. This led those youngsters to come back with guns, catching Gyron on a street outside the mall, where they opened fire. First responders would find him suffering from multiple gunshot wounds near an apartment complex close to the mall, and they would rush him to hospital, where he would later pass away from his injuries. According to local news, Gyron's friend later told investigators that the two had indeed gotten into an altercation with a group of teenagers inside the mall. Later, as they left and headed towards a nearby trampoline park, they would run into the same group again, and after a brief exchange of words, that's when one of the teens pulled the gun and shot Gyron. But what the news didn't mention was that Gyron wasn't just an aspiring rapper, but also an alleged member of the 300 Alliance, who could be seen in his music videos, repping the gang while toting massive guns. Less than a week later, the local news would report how Gyron's alleged killers were captured, these being 3 teenagers who the police had tracked immediately after the shooting.
14-year-old Bradley Payne, 15-year-old Iman Street, and 16-year-old Frederick Tate, all facing second-degree murder charges, linked to the shooting death of Gyron LaBouffe.
These teens would all allegedly be affiliated with gangs that were 300's rivals, but most interestingly, one of them would turn out to be a youngster named Bradley Payne, who is now better known as the rapper 38 Young'un. He hails from the very same area where YoungBoy himself grew up, around the 38th Street on the north side, and repping a gang known as the Northside Rangers, or NSR, which according to some Redditors is part of YoungBoy's 4K Trey Alliance. And 38 Young'un himself is seemingly very well connected to people close to YoungBoy, even having made a song together with one of NBA's main members, Ben 10. Following Gyron's death, particularly many members of DHG, the gang that was repped by YoungBoy's brothers B-Way and D, would diss Gyron mercilessly on social media due to their own beef with 300.
This little man.
Damn, that nigga wanted to join 6 and yeah.
Damn, man. Rest in peace. Trying to hit the purple, son? You ain't trying to hit the purple, son? Man. You trying to hit the purple, son? Shut up. I bet. Well, we're gonna roll you up in that purple then, son. Straight up.
B-Way himself would also seemingly participate in the dissing, like in his April 2021 song Goblin Gang, where he raps how he's never going broke again, adding that ish dead, just like Bang, which appears to be a targeted diss towards Gyron based on his rap name, Gyron Bang. Also, 38 Young'un himself has seemingly dissed Gyron in his music too, like in a song and music video that's since been deleted, where he raps how he smokes such strong weed that it makes him see J, B, and C, with J seemingly being a reference to J, aka Javon Brown, while B refers to Gyron Bang. C, on the other hand, refers refers to yet another dead 300 member called Chris, real name Christopher Fields, who was allegedly killed by his own friend. The two other suspects in the murder of Gyron, Iman Street, aka Mond, and Freddie Tate, aka Tay Huncho, would later be convicted in the case, with Tate pleading guilty in 2022 after having the charges reduced, while Street also eventually pled guilty to reduced charges in 2024, still facing up to 30 years in prison. 38 Youngun's charges, on the other hand, were seemingly dropped, but he would be back in the news in 2023 when he and others were charged with allegedly committing crimes as part of a gang, known according to the local news as Never Broke Again Northside Rangers, this name obviously suggesting that the crew had branched off the original NBA crew around the 38th Street that was led by YoungBoy, with all this showing that if anything, 38 Youngun's ties to YoungBoy and NBA and his 4K Trey crews had only grown stronger.
Members of a Baton Rouge street gang were formally charged. Bradley Payne, Jermonte Clark, Twain Bridgewater, and 3 juveniles were accused of being part of the NBA Northside Rangers. A grand jury indicted the 6 teens on charges within the criminal street gang statute in an effort to make the charges stick.
On Reddit, some users have claimed that Gyron's murder ended up escalating the city's gang war significantly. And while it's not clear whether that's true or not, the killing in the city would certainly reach its peak during the early 2020s. But while these younger, YoungBoy-sanctioned NBA crash-outs were stoking these new deadly beefs, the 6th murder that occurred under YoungBoy's watch was much more personal. The 6th body traces back to YoungBoy's early childhood, when his best friend Lil Dave, real name David Cobb, was shot and killed at just age 16 during a so-called Rest in Peace picnic held in honor of another slain youth in 2010. Lil Dave's killer was never caught, and according to police, the murder investigation was particularly hindered by the community's unwillingness to cooperate with them. YoungBoy would continue to honor Lil Dave's memory in his music, but he would also rap about his desire for revenge, like in his 2015 track Homicide, where he promised that once they catch the person that killed Lil Dave, he will die, and in the 2016 track R.I.P. Lil Dave, where he promised revenge for what was done to Lil Dave. However, there would be a drastic shift in the way that YoungBoy rapped about Lil Dave 2 months into 2020. In his unreleased 2020 track, Hold 13, YoungBoy raps that they killed Lil Dave when he was 12, but once he made 20, he knocked the killer's face off. The line made 20 could be seen as a reference to either YoungBoy reaching the age of 20, or perhaps racking up a net worth of $20 million by this point, or possibly even paying $20,000 to avenge Lil Dave. He would also expand on this in his other songs, like rapping in his 2024 track Missing Everything that he had a flunky pop the person that killed Lil Dave, while in a leaked song called Yesterday, he raps how his life is not anything like it was in the old days because he doesn't need to get revenge for Lil Dave's death anymore. On another leaked song titled Fighting Demons, YoungBoy would rap how he woke up one morning and heard that somebody had caught the boy that killed Lil Dave, and described frantically calling Ben 10 for an update on the situation and being disappointed to find out they didn't hit him in the head with more than one bullet. Online rumors would eventually connect these lyrics to a shooting that took place on March the 1st, 2020. That night at around 7:40 p.m, 28-year-old Lewis Cryer was standing outside on the 6700 block of Cambridge Street when a car rolled past and someone opened fire. Cryer was hit multiple times and rushed to the hospital, where he would later die of his injuries.
Well, police are trying to get to the bottom of a drive-by shooting in Baton Rouge. Someone shot Lewis Cryer on Cambridge Street Sunday evening. That's just north of Airline Highway.
Living Spaces is partnering with the iconic Lazy Boy brand to bring you a collection of Lazy Boy recliners that stand out from the rest. For nearly
In the streets of Baton Rouge, Louis Cryer went by the nickname Scooter, and allegedly he belonged to a gang known as the Young Goons, or YGs, who were the previous generation from the Bankstown hood before the Vultures got started. This gang was indeed long rumored to have been responsible for the murder of Lil Dave, with Reddit rumors even pointing to a specific 4K Trey member known as NBA Q, aka Lil Q, as being the person who avenged Lil Dave for YoungBoy. He would be someone that YoungBoy would shout out several times in his songs for being a shooter, apparently part of a deadly duo with another 4K Trey member called Big E, aka Chopper Boy, with one post circulating on Reddit claiming that Q has 3 bodies while Chopper Boy has just 1, and one infamous 2017 YoungBoy lyric would describe the duo carrying out a hit for him, saying that they run down their ops with a special delivery from YoungBoy. However, officially, the case of Scooter's murder remains unsolved, but all of these lyrics paint a vivid picture of this murder just being another part of YoungBoy's reputation as the infamous murder man of Baton Rouge, and Reddit commenters are convinced that YoungBoy was directly responsible for calling this hit, with lyrics from the leaked song Hurt Somebody, aka Out My Body, seeing YoungBoy appearing to take credit for avenging Lil Dave and referencing someone called Jordan lining it up. Now, YoungBoy was seemingly using his rap riches to settle old scores from the streets of Baton Rouge from 10 years ago, but it would seem that despite the NBA crew reaching the upper echelons of the rap game, this didn't mean their long-running and biggest ops from TBG would be spared. During 2019 and 2020, the beef between NBA and TBG would reach deadly new heights. On songs, YoungBoy kept throwing shade at his old friends, like in the song Free D-Dog, released in April 2019, where he seems to imply that TBG used to run Baton Rouge, but now they can't claim that anymore, while proudly bragging how he had been getting so many people killed that he had made the whole city of Baton Rouge mad at him for putting so many big bags on people's heads. Unsurprisingly, TBG wasn't about to let this kind of disrespect go unpunished. The following month in May, YoungBoy was booked to perform at Rolling Loud, the biggest rap festival series in the country, where his name would be found on the 4th row of Sunday's performers. It's hard to